Well, I thought this week we could make the dolls some enchiladas. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. Alright, so we're going to start by making what will become the filling in our enchiladas. And I want these to look kind of like a beef enchilada. It's not going to be anything that you're really going to see. You're going to see just a little bit at the very ends of each one. And it's going to act as a bulk so that they stay rolled and full. So what I've got is 2 colors of clay. I think this was labeled terracotta. It's kind of a reddish brown. And then a dark brown, which is probably suede or chocolate. I'm not sure. Take approximately equal amounts, lay them next to each other, and just start chopping. The only reason I'm using the 2 colors is I don't want this to be a solid color. I want to have a little variation in the color so it looks like the filling has more going on than it does. Chop it up. This is kind of, we've done this method before to make different things. We did this when we made the salami a while back, where we chopped the clays up together and kind of push them back together, push them back, chop them again. There. Now, all we're going to do, you don't want to overmix this. What we want is just kind of a cane of a very skinny snake or cane of clay that is multicolored. And you could even add some other browns in there. If you've got other colors of brown in your clay stash, go ahead and add a couple more, whatever you've got on hand. And then we're going to roll it down pretty skinny, about the same diameter as a toothpick, about 1/16 of an inch. Any bigger than that, and it's going to be too much for our little tortillas to hold. And speaking of our tortillas, let's see, I'm going to cut that up, and I'll roll it down more as I go to put it in. Now, let's make our tortillas. For that, I'm going to easy that. I'm just using a wad of original Sculpey. Don't even need anywhere near that much. I am going to roll this really thin. I'm not measuring, I'm just rolling it out thin. And now I can't find my half-inch clay cutter. As most of you that have watched my channel very much know, I moved a couple of years ago, and because I had to pack really quickly, and it was right after I'd had COVID, I was sick and still feeling like crap, and I didn't get a lot of my clay tools. So I looked around and found the top to a tube of chapstick. It's a 1/2 inch in diameter. And it works just fine for cutting our clay. Sometimes we just have to make do with what we've got on hand. And I apologize for noises outside. It's very noisy around here today. I don't know why. It's a Tuesday. Usually Tuesdays are quiet. So now use your clay knife to kind of pick that up off the tray. Take one of your pieces of your filling and roll it up. Then, oops, it's sticking to my fingers. Cut it off. We're going to put those all off to the side. And I'm trying to cut them about even with the edges of the tortilla. And I am turning them over so that the edge that's a little bit rounded from being cut will be on the outside. I think it looks a little nicer that way. The thinner you can roll your clay when you're making your tortilla mixture or tortilla piece, the more realistic these will be. The thicker they are, the more sturdy they are, but they won't look as realistic. So it's up to you where you want to draw that line. Flip it over, lay this on here. And I'll do the rest of those off camera. Let's go ahead and move to the texturing part. And then I'll get these caught up and I'll come back and show you the next step. I'm just going to take my dental tool and just kind of pick at that end and make it look like it's ground beef. Excuse the shaking hands, it's morning and I've had a migraine for a couple of days, but I need to get the video done. So we're working through the migraine today. Well, I am going to turn the camera off. I'm going to finish these up. I'm going to make a few more enchiladas, so I've got a lot to work with. When I get these all rolled and textured, I'll come back and we will go on to the next step. Alright, I ended up making 16 of them. I'm not sure why I made that many, but we've got what we've got. So now I'm going to take just some yellow ochre chalk on my brush and I'm going to kind of brush over just the tops of the tortillas. Give them a little bit of color. I think we're assuming that the Doll family is using flour tortillas for their enchiladas. Maybe they're white corn, I don't know. I'm trying to do this and keep my fingers out of the way, but it's not going to work. This way they'll look a little more baked when we get done. Now if you wanted to make it look more like their corn tortillas, you could add some yellow color clay of some kind to make the white clay more of a golden color. That's up to you. So I'll finish brushing these all with chalk and then I'll be right back. Alright, I have all of those chalked with some pale chalk, the pale yellow ochre. So now we're going to mix up some oil paint to mix into some TLS. And most of the time it seems like the sauce, the red sauce on enchiladas, has kind of an orange tint to it. So that was some rose madder, and then I've got some yellow ochre. We're not going to use all of this oil paint. I'm just getting off enough here that I can mix up a color that I like. And then I'm going to mix in some TLS. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of vermilion also. It's almost the right color on its own. It's not quite strong enough by itself. I tried it by itself and it came out almost pink when I mixed it. So we want our oil color to be darker than we want our finished color to be. That will probably work. Then I'm going to take some TLS, and my oven is already hot in preparation for baking these off. So what I'm going to do, take just a tiny bit of paint, mix into here. You don't want to use too much or it won't cure correctly. Get this all mixed. Then I'm going to take a small piece of foil on my paper plate that I bake on, and I'm going to actually go bake this for 10 minutes because I want to see what this is going to do. I want to make sure I've got my color right before I put it onto my enchiladas. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and when it's baked, I'll come back and we can see how the color is and if I need to adjust it. All right, so here's the color that came out baked off. So I want a little more red in there. We don't want to add too much oil paint, but we need enough paint in here to give it color. It's kind of a fine line between enough for color and too much that it won't bake up properly. So I'm going to bake off that bit, and then I'll check back with you when I see how that looks. All right, so I'm happy with the adjusted color. So now it's time to put these into whatever you're going to place them in. I am going to put some into a little, kind of a casserole dish I made. I just made this out of some cardstock, nothing fancy. And then, so to do that, we're going to put some of this down in the bottom. And mine has actually been sitting for a couple of days because I didn't get back to filming the other day, so this is actually sat for a couple of days, so it's gotten a little bit, not really thickened, but it doesn't, it's a little harder to work with when it's been sitting open. I should have covered it. If I would have realized I was not going to come back to it right away, I would have covered it up. So I am going to get this down in the bottom of that container. I'm going to kind of cover the bottom, and then I'll be back and I'll show you the next step. All right, I think I've got that. I've got enough down there that we'll be able to see it past the ends of our enchiladas. And now we're just going to very carefully kind of put these in here. Whatever container you're going to use for yours, you'll need to make sure that the enchiladas you create will fit. So if your container is narrower, you might need to make yours with a slightly smaller tortilla size. And then we're going to put some more on top. You can put as much or as little of the sauce on as you want. You could add other toppings. Now I think today I'm just going to put the red sauce on and leave it up to you guys what other toppings you want to put on. You could use some clay to make some cheese sauce. You could make a sour cream out of either TLS and oil paint or TLS and white clay. There's all kinds of things you could add on the top of yours to make them just the way your dolls want to eat them. Now, we'll put that over on our baking container. And now I've got, let's see if I can find a piece. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I cut a piece of foil off the corner of this because let's say you want to have some enchiladas to serve on plates. Well, to do that, what I would do, take a non-stick something, either parchment paper or a little bit of your foil. It doesn't have to be very big. And let's put 2 enchiladas on that. You want some on the bottom. Not only will that hold them together, but it will look nicer. It'll kind of pool out. And then just bake these on the foil and then or parchment, and then you'll be able to pull that off and glue them onto whatever dollhouse plate you've got. If you've got bakeable plates and you know for sure what you're going to put them on, you could actually bake them right on the plate. Now I'm also going to bake the rest of our enchiladas just the way they are, just so they're baked and ready to go. I can always add a sauce later and put them into whatever scene I want. So I'm going to go bake all of this at the recommended temperature for about probably the full 10 minutes. I do want everything to cure all the way through. When it's baked and cooled, I'll come back and we'll look at our finished enchiladas. All right, everything is baked and cooled and ready to use. I mean, you could glue these onto a plate and add some sauce to them. You can use them for a lot of different things. These that have the sauce on them, simply a matter of peeling them up off of the foil. I'll have a little bit of sauce there, and then glue it onto your desired plate with a polymer clay friendly glue, and you have a serving of enchiladas. And here's our baked dish of them. I love how they turned out. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure and check the blog post. I'll try and have more information there. I apologize if the video is not up to what I would like to have had it be. I just don't feel good this week, and I'm doing my best. So hopefully I'll feel better for next week's video. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.